The void of space shimmered with the afterglow of battle. The remnants of an alien armada drifted lifelessly among the stars, their once proud warships reduced to smoldering hulks by the might of the Galactic Coalition fleet. For centuries, the Coalition had stood as humanity's shield against the encroaching threats of the cosmos, a fragile alliance of species united under one banner: survival. Admiral Cale Vorthis, a grizzled veteran of countless skirmishes and full-scale wars, stood on the command deck of the Ecliptica, the flagship of the Coalition fleet. His sharp eyes scanned the holographic display before him, where red markers representing enemy ships flickered out one by one until only blue icons remained. A cheer erupted from the crew around him, their voices echoing through the cavernous chamber like waves crashing against cliffs. "We did it!" murmured Commander Liren, her antennae twitching with excitement. She was a Zetherian, her insectoid frame glistening in the dim light of the bridge. "The Zorathians are finished." Kyle nodded slowly, his expression unreadable. "For now," he said, his voice low and gravelly. He turned to face the viewport, staring at the debris field that marked the end of the Zorathian invasion force. It was a victory worth celebrating, but something gnawed at the edges of his mind. Something felt off. As if on cue, the ship shuddered violently, throwing several crew members off balance. Alarms blared across the bridge, their piercing wails cutting through the celebratory atmosphere like knives. "Report!" Cale barked, gripping the railing to steady himself. "Unknown." "Energy signatures detected!" shouted Lieutenant Varen, his fur bristling as he worked frantically at his console. "They're coming from Earth's direction." Earth? Cale frowned. Humanity's homeworld hadn't been involved in galactic affairs for decades, not since they'd retreated behind their planetary defenses, refusing all contact with the outside universe. Rumors swirled about secret projects and advanced technology hidden beneath Earth's surface, but most dismissed them as conspiracy theories. After all, how could a species that barely scraped its way into interstellar travel compete with the likes of the Zorathians or even the mighty Zetherians? But now those rumors seemed less far-fetched. On the viewport, a series of massive shapes materialized out of nowhere, their silhouettes dark and imposing against the backdrop of stars. They were unlike anything Cale had ever seen. Monolithic dreadnoughts with jagged edges and glowing veins of energy pulsating along their hulls. Each vessel dwarfed the largest ships in the Coalition fleet, exuding an aura of raw power that sent chills down Cale's spine. "What are those things?" Lyraean whispered, her mandibles clicking nervously. Before anyone could answer, a transmission crackled over the comms. A single human voice, calm yet commanding, filled the bridge. "This is Admiral Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Defense Fleet. Stand down immediately and prepare for boarding. Any hostile actions will be met with lethal force." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Kyle exchanged glances with his crew, who looked equally stunned. Boarding? By whom? And why would Earth care about this conflict? "Earth has no jurisdiction here," Cale replied, stepping closer to the comm panel. "We are the Galactic Coalition fleet, protectors of the free systems. Identify yourselves and explain your presence." There was a brief pause, followed by a soft chuckle. "You misunderstand, Admiral Vorthis. We aren't asking permission. Consider this a demonstration of Earth's capabilities and a warning. Humanity no longer tolerates interference in our affairs." Cale's blood ran cold. How did she know his name? More importantly, what did she mean by demonstration? Before he could respond, the dreadnoughts began moving, their engines flaring with unnatural brilliance. One of them fired a single beam of light, not at the Coalition fleet, but at the nearest planet in the system. The beam struck without warning, slicing through the atmosphere like a knife through silk. In seconds, the entire planet disintegrated into a cloud of dust and debris, its mass scattered across the void. The silence that followed was deafening. "No," Liren gasped, her knees buckling as she collapsed onto the floor. That was inhabited. Kale clenched his fists, his heart pounding in his chest. Whatever these humans had become, they were not the same timid species that had withdrawn from the galaxy years ago. They were something else entirely, something terrifying. "Admiral," Varen stammered, his ears flattening against his skull. "What do we do?" Kyle took a deep breath, forcing himself to remain calm. "Open a channel. Let's see if diplomacy still has a place in this new reality." Meanwhile, aboard the lead Dreadnought, the Aegis of Terra, Admiral Elena Vasquez watched the Coalition fleet with a mixture of amusement and disdain. She leaned back in her chair, her fingers steepled as she studied the holographic projection of the battlefield. "They're scared," commented Captain Marcus Hale, standing beside her. He was a tall man with piercing gray eyes and a scar running down his left cheek. "Can't say I blame them," Elena smirked. "Fear is a powerful motivator, Marcus. It keeps people alive, or gets them killed. Either way, it serves its purpose." Hale raised an eyebrow. "Do you think they'll comply, or are we going to have to make another example?" She shrugged nonchalantly. "Let's give them a chance to surrender first. If they don't, well, we've got plenty of planets to spare." Her tone was chillingly casual, as though obliterating worlds was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. To Elena, it probably was. She had spent decades preparing for this moment, honing Earth's military might in secret while the rest of the galaxy grew complacent. Now, the time had come to reveal the truth. Humanity was no longer weak. A notification flashed on her console, indicating an incoming transmission. Elena gestured for Hale to patch it through. "Admiral Vasquez," came the voice of the alien commander, strained but resolute. "I demand an explanation for your actions. Your attack on that planet constitutes an act of war." Elena chuckled softly. "War? Oh, Admiral Vorthus, you misunderstand. This isn't war, it's enforcement. You see, Earth doesn't negotiate. We dictate. And right now, we're dictating that your little coalition stays out of our territory. Understand?" There was a long pause before the alien responded. "And if we refuse?" Elena smiled, a predatory gleam in her eyes. "Then you'll find out just how far humanity has come." Back on the Ecliptica, Kyle wrestled with the implications of Earth's ultimatum. Surrender meant losing everything. The Coalition had fought for the freedom to explore, trade, and coexist without fear. But defiance meant risking annihilation at the hands of a power they couldn't hope to match. For the first time in his career, Kale felt truly powerless. Yet, as he glanced at the faces of his crew, determination began to replace despair. They might not win, but they wouldn't go down without a fight. "Raise shields," he ordered, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Prepare all. Weapons. If Earth wants a war, they'll get one." The crew sprang into action, their movements fueled by a mix of fear and resolve. Outside, the Dreadnoughts loomed closer, their glowing hulls casting an eerie light over the Coalition fleet. As the two forces prepared to clash, the galaxy held its breath. The age of humanity's isolation was over, and whatever happened next would change the course of history forever.